Hey everyone, my name is Andrew Davis, and you're watching Conversations in Pop Culture. And we're kind of mixing it up a little bit for two reasons. A, I just want to say my co-host on my Friday night show owes me money now, and owes me about $100 because he said the Phillies were going to beat the Mets, and that didn't happen because the Mets won, and we're going to play the Dodgers or the Padres, and we might go all the way, but I'm not going to go jinx it. So I know exactly what I'm going to do with that $100. I think I'm gonna go buy some stock. So because this is a money definitely driven show, but I got a good friend of mine who's taught me a lot of stuff, has given me insight into how to run my business, and also shares, I believe, a common value, which is passive income is worth more than active income. Brandon Duff. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, man. It's been a long time coming, huh? Like I feel like I've known you for years. Like God, it has to be like 3 or 4 years now, and we've done a few, but I don't think we've ever jumped on talking on conversations in pop culture. So I'm excited to be jumping on here for once.
Oh yeah, no, I'm happy. It just never came about, and it's just like I'm so busy. And when you're doing like 100 to 150 interviews a year, like it just doesn't
Crazy.
happen. And just
No,
I
I know.
and, oh, it's whatever. It's my fault. I'll take the blame.
No, it's not your fault at all. We were just two different things, and we just I think I reached out to you just a couple days ago, and then you were like, "Hey, jump on my podcast," and I was like, "Yes, let's do it." So I'm very excited we were able to make this happen.
I'm excited too, and I'm in a good mood. But obviously, before we get too deep into this, you do a lot of stuff. You've done stuff with crypto. You've done a lot of teaching. You've called out a bunch of scams in
Yeah.
crypto. I think you've been right on a few things. You've been wrong on some stuff too, but that's naturally the course. I've been wrong on a lot of stuff too, but that's not what we're here to talk about. But what do you do exactly? Because you teach a lot of people how to do passive income stuff,
Oh
Amazon
man.
review stuff, and the whole shebang. And it's not for everybody, but it's at least gets your brain turning if you watch your YouTube channel at the very least.
Yeah, definitely. So I've done. I like to learn, and I've realized that I have a unique talent of taking anything that I'm learning and making money from it. And so I was a personal trainer many moons ago, and my girlfriend at the time was like, "Hey, Brandon, like you should do personal training. Like you're into like fitness, blah blah blah." And I was like, "That sounds great." And so got into a training certification, got trained, became a trainer, and then made a lot of money and invested in real estate because I knew I couldn't become a personal trainer all my life. There's an expiration date as a personal trainer. And I didn't want to be like a 45-year-old trainer still training people and being like, that's my job. And so I invested in real estate, got up to 10 rental properties, and was like, I'm good. I have my 10. I traded my houses to hotels. I'm solid. And so then we ended up moving to Texas. And I think that's when we met, actually, about 5 years ago. And I just gave up my fitness business, was starting online doing affiliate marketing, and then got into software and had a software company, partnered up with a developer, made some great software, and then realized I was doing all the work and paying him a lot of money to do nothing. And so we had a falling out. And at that time, I was still renting out my car. And so I ended up buying like 10 cars and I was renting those out, kind of like real estate, but better cash flow than any rental property that I owned. And so that was doing really well. And so I've done that, and then I do content. And so I've been lately getting into Amazon. And it's crazy because Amazon's great like as a little side hustle, but like you don't really get deep into it and understanding that there's multiple ways to actually make money from it until like you start like talking to people and learning different tricks and that sort of thing. So lately I've had been helping Amazon sellers get reviews and organic content for them, pushing them higher up in the rankings and being paid for it. And I get a lot of companies that come to me and need more people. And so I contact other influencers and content creators to do those reviews. And so now I'm just kind of building like this cool little community where I have business and I'm like, hey, I need you to create content, do it for me. And they say yes, and I pay them. And so that's kind of what I've been doing now, is kind of setting up a Amazon seller agency in a sense, like almost a digital agency.
See, that's interesting because I know nothing about that, nothing at all, and I don't want to do that at all. In which
No.
this, because I love passive income. I'm a dividend investor, and I legitly take my money from my eBay business. I get a nice like 30% profit margin after I pay my taxes, replenish my merch, have a little retained earnings, set some money aside if the whole thing goes on fire, and I get 30% basically off of that, which is when you're doing 100,000, 150,000 in sales, it's not 150,000. I want to make that crystal clear, but it's, decent 5 figures as a side hustle. And I take that money and I straight out invest into a good growth dividend stock, and I collect my monthly check because I'm really, really lazy. I'm incredibly lazy because that's all I want is I want to be paid on like the 15th every single month for doing nothing. But I find it so interesting because when I watched your content on the Axie stuff and other stuff, it got me thinking about how do I essentially stake something and then have a business operate? And that's what I think you're really interesting about in particular, is that you're teaching people how to do something. You're also calling something out, and you have all these training guides. And it's kind of like in a bunch of different things. I think you did something with a little bit of gambling. You've done stuff with crypto. I think you've done some other stuff. And so that's what's so interesting, is that you're kind of getting people into this whole passive income side, and you always have something going on. And that's why I think you're so interesting.
Yeah. I've when I get into something, I definitely go deep onto it and see how I can make it passive. So to go back, I got into real estate, and I think that's kind of, well, a lot of people say it's not passive because you have like a renter, you have toilets, you have to collect checks. But if you have a property manager, it is passive. You're just taking a part of your income and you're buying back your time with it by having a property manager, and you pay like what, 8 to 12% to save a headache. And so for me, I'd rather spend the money to save a headache than give up 40 hours a week to manage a few rentals. And so whenever I get into something, I'm like, how can I almost make this like a asset class that I can have someone else manage and make me money? And so to go back into the crypto, in Axies, there's these things called NFTs, which are non-fungible tokens. For all the people that don't understand crypto or NFTs, essentially it's just a piece of artwork that has been digitized and that you own in a ledger that shows proof of ownership, essentially. And so with these, we're able to take them and use them in part of a game. So they would be part of a blockchain game or a crypto game that you could use or rent out to people. And so if you think of like World of Warcraft or Diablo or whatever, and you collect these rare items and then you sell them on the auction house and people pay gold for those, essentially that's what you would do, is you would sell these rare Axies or you would rent them out. So I thought of it like, okay, real estate, I'm a property manager, I have all these houses or Axies, I'll rent them out to these players and they can use those to make money from it because they're battling other players. And if they win, they make money. And if they lose, they make a little bit of money, but it wasn't a lot. And so having the best gear or almost pay to win, you're able to make a lot of money. And so by providing them with a way to make money, I was collecting a residual from that without having to do anything. And that's how I did with cars too. I was renting out my car and I was like, okay, this is making me good money. Let me buy 10 more. And so I don't do any of the turnovers. People will go on like Toro and rent them out for a couple of days. They'll have to turn it over, wash, do all that. Like I was doing long-term. I'm not going to do turning over every couple of days. My renters have been with me for months. I haven't even seen my car for like over a year. And every Friday I get money sent to my Zelle or my Cash App. And then that goes into my bank, and then that goes into investing. So, everything I get into, I learn how to systemize it, turn it into a way to make it either a active income by building a business, but taking me out of the business so that I'm working on the business and making it scalable, or I use money to make the problems go away and then essentially use it that way and invest. So like real estate, stocks, crypto, money, business, people, that sort of thing.
I mean, in my business and in my eBay business, I am very active in it, in which that
Right.
I am like the chief buyer of everything, and then I'm the one who's packing up most of the packages, envelopes. But what I figured out is that the way you scale up is by buying more expensive merch. So you buy less merch, and you go from the $4 card to buying the $400 card, and because now you're buying less of those $400 cards, but your profit margin goes up significantly. But then I take out money from my business because I learned something called pay yourself first. And I
Right.
think it's a big problem. But again, I then go into passive income like stocks, staking crypto,
Yep.
getting my 3% on my Ethereum and Coinbase, which I'm thrilled about. I love my little 3% Ethereum for doing nothing. It's
Right.
beautiful. It's beautiful. My Cosmos is nice too. What is that? Like 14%? I don't think people understand what a 14% interest rate of return on a stake looks like over years. It looks very nice after
Well,
about
they
5
don't.
years.
People don't understand. So there's a multiple things to break that down, because you have to think like you're talking crypto, an asset class, and then you're also talking
Mhm.
about fiat, combining them. So let me break that down. So you're getting Ethereum, which goes up and down in value. Uh, so you're getting appreciation, or you're losing value on that asset class. Obviously, you don't only lose it unless you sell, but I'm not going to get into the semantics of it. However, you're also getting an additional 4 to 14% on top of that. So it's not 4 or 14%. So if it goes up, say it goes from 2,000 to 4,000, that's not 14. You're not still getting 14%. You're getting a much higher return on your investment from that. Versus like if you put your money into a savings account, it's that $0, that dollar is still that $100 or that $2,000 that you have in there is still $2,000, but you're getting 4%, 2%, 0.001% on that, and that's not appreciating in value. So you're getting both. So obviously, if you're in it for the long term, you're getting that appreciation, and then you're getting that quote unquote dividend or staking that you can roll into that amount that is then again appreciating over time.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that hard. If you keep it nice and simple, everybody, and you just say, "Cool, I'm just going to leave it alone for a set amount of years," you'll have a lot more money statistically than before you started. But that's also not true about crypto. It depends what you invest in crypto. But
Yeah.
Ethereum is here to stay. Bitcoin's here to stay. There's no question about that. If you put money in Bitcoin today, you're going to be relatively fine in the long run. I think so. Now, I could be wrong. I don't like to
You
predict the
will.
future, but I think you're going to make more money.
The, the
But
only
that's not
reason why crypto is now um, uh, the reason why crypto is staying is because now it is an ETF. And the reason being is an ETF is now we're able to borrow against that. We're able to borrow against with our crypto already with different protocols. But now that there's an ETF, we're able to leverage. And anything that you're able to leverage, then it's going to be around for a while. The reason being is money is made off of leverage. People don't take money and let it sit and grow and let it get 10%. They do that. They let it grow, get 10%. They also then borrow against that money. That's how Elon Musk bought Twitter. He took portions of Tesla. He borrowed against it from banks and then bought Tesla. And so, or not Twitter. And so that's how the wealthiest people make money is you borrow against an asset class that is going to make you more money than the cost of the debt service that you are borrowing against. And so
also.
if you can take, for instance, your 4% at a bank, and you can take that out and pay 4%, but put it in crypto and get 14% and appreciation over that year, then obviously that's great. So I don't know if you've watched this video, but I call it the ultimate money loop. And I talked about this in when I was doing Axie Infinity, but I mostly talk it now about real estate. Essentially, what you do is you buy Ethereum or Bitcoin or whatever, you borrow against it, then you use that to buy real estate. that real estate pays dividends and has appreciation. So now you have two asset classes that are appreciating and having dividends. And then that dividends from your rental will pay back the bank, but then you can also then buy more Ethereum or more Bitcoin to offset the leverage that you take, or buy more of that asset class. And then that appreciates. Then you are less hedged, but then you borrow against that same asset class. So you keep, I call it the ultimate money loop, because you're looping your money. You're not actually paying down the debt, besides on the house, but you're not actually paying down the debt on the crypto, because you're just keep leveraging it, because you keep getting the cash flow from the real estate to pay and buy more of the asset class that is your founding asset. Not financial advice. That's just personally what I'm doing. And none of you guys should do that, because I'm not really anyone important, and you should not listen to me.
Oh, no. Again. I don't do that. I figured out how to find asset classes that I buy for 200 and then I sell them for 500, and
No,
they are
exactly.
and I pay for everything in cash, and then I take my money and I take the profits out of that, a healthy distribution, and then I just invest in good growth dividend stocks or crypto or investments, and I keep my positions nice and simple, and I'm doing just fine, and I'm making a fuck ton of money. So that's what I do. But again, I'm nobody important either, because there's nothing wrong with doing it your way. Everybody, if you found the way how to make money, I'm not going to say no.
Right.
I just do things that I feel comfortable doing. And that's
And I was saying to protect both of us, because we're not financial advisors, and
that's what I want to
anything
be
we
yours.
say is not financial advice. So whatever I say I'm doing is not telling you guys that you should do it. And you should be like, oh, Brandon said I should start a car rental business, and I totaled the car, and now he's the bad guy. So yeah, don't just I'm just sharing what I'm doing. So yes, that is a good way to do things, is buy and sell, buy low and sell high.
Exactly. But again, I'm not a financial advisor, and I don't want to be yours. I
Yeah.
don't. I'm already nervous enough managing my money, and I'm already nervous enough when I have $1 on a baseball game. And I just sold like $10,000 worth of cards, and I'm nervous that I might lose $1. So I don't want to take any more responsibility for anybody but me. I cried. So the other day I lost 10 cents on DraftKings, and I cried. So
Well, it's like, isn't that the number one rule for oh god, I'm blanking on his name, but don't lose money. Warren Buffett is like, don't lose money.
Rule number 1, don't lose money. What's rule number 2? Follow rule number 1, right?
Exactly. It's just like Fight Club, right?
No. I mean, I got the same high though from gambling 10 cents that I get from gambling like 100. It's like the weirdest thing. So it's not the money amount. It's really that it changes the game if you even have like 10 cents on it. It's so bizarre. It's such like a dope high, and it's so exciting. But like, I didn't have any money on the Mets today, and I was nervous as fuck. So. But
I know.
Yeah. So
I know we're this off air, and I'm going to bring it up now, but I'm excited for you to start your unboxing channel of you opening up these expensive cards, because you were talking about how the dopamine for not having any money on the game, but I'm excited to see some of these cards that you're going to be opening. I don't know if I was supposed to, if that was like a sneak preview or
no. In which that it's fine. I've been wanting to do it for a while. It's just like I just haven't gotten around to doing it. And like, I have some stuff that everybody knows what's in it, but it's still going to be fun to open it. And then you have stuff that is random in there that's really cool that I'm purposely saving. But again, you didn't spoil anything. People have been known that I wanted to do this for a while. It's just like, when do I do it? Probably I might start in December, because I take off interviewing in the month of December just so that I could recharge. Because I'll be very honest, interviewing is a very mentally tiring game. And it might not sound like it is, but it is exhausting. Booking, building an interview, doing an interview, cutting up pieces of the interview, marketing the interview while I work a 9-to-5 job, while I'm running a business that's expanding. And I'm at a position where I'm just like, I want a month, not to mention that I'm part of a bunch of different organizations. like I'm part of a comic group and we have a Christmas party. And if I'm doing an interview and that happens to be on a Thursday, I'm not going to talk about how Superman helps Santa deliver presents. Like, it's a real thing and it's a great issue.
Oh, you make my cheeks hurt every time I talk to you. I just full of laughs. Oh my god.
while we're all drinking.
Yeah.
Like, you have not seen a debate, right? We've had many political debates in the last 60 days. There is nothing like a comic book debate. Like, there's the joke in The Big Bang. It can Hulk pick up Thor's hammer? If Thor's holding his hammer and Hulk picks up Thor, did Hulk pick up Thor's hammer? And that's one of the funniest
question.
but these are the debates that happen. So it's kind of like, when you and your comic book friends are all getting completely messed up, and then you have these really complicated questions. It's great.
You know what? I mean, I don't know. I think this conversation is so great about that conversation that is going to be so great. It's like Inception almost.
But that's why I don't do interviews in December, because then you have your office party, then you have like I have like a virtual anime gathering, and like these are fun, and it's just the idea that when you're running a business, I don't know how you feel about this, is that like you need breaks. I need breaks in life because I did almost $45,000 in 90 days off of cards and WNBA, and my business was not ready for it. I was expecting to go from like 25,000 to 40,000, and I would have been ecstatic. And it didn't do that. It went way beyond there. And when you realize that, oh my God, I don't have infrastructure, there are other things that happen to you where, like in the middle of the night, you have night terrors because you don't know how you're going to deal with this, and you have money, but you have no infrastructure. And I had to learn infrastructure in 90 to 100 days. And it was fun. It was exciting. But you're like, holy fuck, what do I do now? Like I don't know how to ship out 1,200 cards in 3 weeks. Like you learn very quickly that you're not ready for this. And then I've also learned breaking points. And I don't know how you feel about that, but I'm sure you've had those pains too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've come to realize that going from like 0 to 100,000, you're going to have some pain points, but you're also going to have some pain points going from 100,000 to 250,000. You're going to have pain points from 250,000 to 500,000. These are all, I mean, you talked about I'm going to give you 2 books, and they helped me tremendously. You're talking about paying yourself first. I think Profit First is a really good book. It pretty much lays down exactly what you talked about having an account that pays for your taxes, having an account that pays for yourself, having an account that is only for your income, and then having an account for like your quarterlies for investments and that sort of thing. So there's like 5 different buckets. I can't remember. I think that was in a savings account. I think was another one, or bills payable or something. So that one, and then the other one you were just talking about. Oh man, what was the last thing you just said? And I just had it. And this is what made me think about it was that book. But then I thought of that last one. I was going to recommend the book.
I was talking about pain points.
Oh, scaling. It's called. I think it's called Scaling. It might be called Scaling, Scaling Up, or something like that. But it will tell you like exactly what I just said. Like you're gonna have those break points where you're gonna hit like these infrastructure hacks where it's like, okay, 0 to 100 easily, like it's just a you issue in delivering what you promise. From 100,000 to 250,000, it's mostly managing someone else and onboarding people that could kind of offload some of your issues. And then it becomes systems and teams from like 250,000 to 500,000. And then obviously it becomes expanding out channels, 500,000 to 1 million. And then obviously just scaling bigger offers back, back end offers, whereas you're going from like 1 to 10 million. So, and then it's just having continuity and having a continuity program too. So like, it's just, you're going to run into these issues all the time.
I
and it's
agree.
dealing with them.
I wasn't expecting it, is my point. Like it caught me off guard because
It's a
I'm like,
good problem to have.
let me put it this way. And this is going to sound so messed up. I'm like, oh, the WNBA, it's a joke, right? It's hot right now. This thing isn't going to last. We're going to have like, I'm going to get in and out. It's going to be a quick, 10K, and I'm going to be thrilled. I'm going to make like 4 or 5 on it. And it turns out that it's the hottest thing that just kept going. And I'm like, and I knew there was money there, but I didn't expect it to be what it was. And it became a whole new sector. And people were asking me, like, you got any more of this? Like all these people were asking me stuff. And then I sold the items even cheaper than what they're valued now. And people are like, yo, you're not going to scream. I'm like, no. And then I've had repeat buyers come back to me and spend more money with me. And now I have it's shifted my whole business because I was selling a lot more comics. And so it's like weird because I just wasn't expecting that growth. I was expecting it not to be in 90 days, but be more like a year out. And it was it was great. I mean, I'm not complaining about the money. It just caught me off guard. Like you ever just like, it's kind of like if a bag full of money just fell into your hands from the sky, you're not upset that like oh sweet, $100 just landed in my hands. You're never upset about it. You're like, I'm a little surprised.
Right.
Maybe I should sit down and maybe I should open up a beer before I do anything. Like it was one of those moments. So that's my point is that, and you clearly are way ahead of me in that.
I think you pulled up an important point. As you said, sit back and relax. And I think a lot of people do that. They don't do that because that could, I mean, and I love that what you said earlier too is about the fact that you were able to have repeat buyers because you almost showed goodwill with what you had with the cards that you were selling at a discount. And you actually turned out to be a really good investment for them. Of trading cards, a good collectible, as I should have said,
it went from
for them.
$8 to $60, and I was selling them. Bought them at $4, sold them to most of my customers for $8 to $8.50 a card. Was ecstatic. I was ecstatic to sell them for $8.50. 3 months later, they come in. They're trading for $60 a pop, and there's 42,000 of them in play.
Yeah,
it's just wild. That's that. I mean, it's not a huge print number in the scheme of the world, but it's a pretty large print number, all things considering. And I'm like, holy shit. And these people are like, you're not going to screw me because other people have it. I'm like, no, why would I do that? Right. and then they wound up buying a bunch more from me, and it's great. And I'm still selling cheaper than everybody else.
Well, that's the thing. Like, you showed goodwill. You showed that you knew your product. You capitalized on the trend. And now you have repeat buyers and loyal customers because of all of that. And I think that's a huge thing that a lot of people don't. I actually talked about this on my, I was just talking to my stories. I haven't done much YouTube or Facebook and stuff content recently at all. And I just went on today because I was talking to, I just been having some good conversations lately. And so I was like, I'm going to go on the stories, and I was like, I'm going to be talking about like goodwill and leverage. And that you like capitalized it on it perfectly. Like what you just said is exactly what I was saying. It's like you just showed goodwill to people, saying you're not going to screw them, which you wouldn't, because that's not the type of person that you are. And that's just not that kind of industry. I mean, I'm sure there is some shadiness in the industry, but like you don't hang around that kind of people. And so that, and then it shows that like you have leverage, because now that you showed them goodwill, when you come back and you have something for them, you can be like, hey, I have this other thing that is really, really good. And you can present that to them. And now you have leverage because you showed them goodwill, and you can sell them and capitalize on that too. So there's just, you're doing everything right, man. I love it.
No, I mean, I'll tell another story. So I had I'm a big baseball fan. Obviously, I'm a Mets fan, but I appreciate Aaron Judge just hit his 300th home run this year. So there was one card that came out, and then somebody wanted to buy another card, but they're coming out at 2 different times. So I'm going to ask you. So one of the cards came in 3 weeks ago, and the other one's coming in about 3 weeks from now. So what do you think I did in that circumstance?
So I don't understand the question.
So I had the same buyer buy 2 different cards that were coming in at a different time.
Yeah.
So obviously I only charged him for shipping on once, which was $5.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna ask, and I'll give you it's a multiple choice question because I love multiple choice. Do you think that I am waiting to ship out both cards at the same time, or do you think I shipped out the cards as they came in?
No, you ship them at the same time.
What I did to talk about goodwill is I shipped out the cards as they came in. Because what it did is that he now got that card that he bought like 4 months ago, and he got the first one ahead of time, and it cost me $5 extra, but he gets that card. He says, "Oh my god, this guy isn't screwing me," and he spent an extra $5 so that I would get half my order ahead of time, and then when I get the other order comes in, and meanwhile, we're talking about like $800 worth of cards, 2 cards, 400 a piece. So if it costs me $5, but somebody gets part of their order ahead of time, especially when it's expensive orders, that guy says, "Oh my god, this guy isn't screwing me," and he left me a great review on eBay. So
Yeah,
we talked
it's
about
great.
goodwill. That to me is great will. And then I had another person buy a base relic, which they put a base of a baseball game in there. And so I'm sending him a bunch of other cards that I bought that'll cost me about $20, but he spent $500. So am I losing a little bit of money in the short term? Yes. All of a sudden, you think that person's going to leave me a bad review. And when they get it, you think they're going to care that it took an extra month? Probably not.
No. So this is I'll play devil's advocate. Me personally, and I don't know the guy, so I can't speak if
I
he
don't
thought
know
that was
either.
goodwill. No,
I don't
I
know.
know exactly.
So
But
I
me
don't know my client
personally,
personally. But anyway, continue.
me personally, if if I received one and then I received the other, I'd be like, I gotta go to the mailbox a second time to get the second card. Like that's another trip for me. Why didn't he just send them at the same time? How annoying. But that's just me.
The reason
However,
the reason why I did it is that the base relic is coming in November or December, and the first card came in like October 1st. So there's a big gap between those two things. And that was my theory at the very least. So I just thought it was the right thing to do because I just wanted to feel comfortable with me on my
personally,
cards.
but see, I speak from experience because I know you and I know you're good for it. Just like my team, like I pay them ahead of time because I know they're good for it. I'm not worried about them screwing me. So I think what you did was probably the right thing. Personally, since I know you, I would have been like, just send it to me in December when you get it. I'm holding it for the long term. I'm going to be holding it for 5-10 years. If I get it today or if I get it 2 weeks from now, whatever. But at least I know I'm getting both at the same time.
I have clients who are like that say, "Hey, dude, just send me. I have 6 orders for you. Just send them all in one package." And they asked for that. I didn't know what this guy wanted, so I just had to make a call. And that was what I thought. And nobody's ever going to yell at me for that call.
No,
The-
no, not at all. That's why I
So
said I think that was a great call. I would have been annoyed, but
yeah,
personally, I think it's a good
well, this
call
is where we
for whatever.
disagree.
No,
It's
I'm very particular, and so so for me personally, and that's why I said like you made a great call because I don't know, and I'm not going to argue with
I don't
like
know either. I
yeah,
had to
so
make a decision, and I
yeah,
made a
no,
decision,
I
and
love
it
it.
could be the wrong one. It
Yeah,
could be. I'm more
it
than
could
happy to admit it.
it could be right too, but personally, I'm a big fan of no headache factor. So if I can pay, and I think we talked about this off air too, or maybe we were talking about it earlier about real estate, but if I'd rather pay a property manager to handle everything and not do anything. And so if I don't have to get a phone call or a text message at 3 o'clock in the morning that says I put a tampon down the toilet, I need you to fix it. And I'm like, well, you put a tampon on it, so why didn't you put it in the trash, you retard? And so things like that, like I'd rather pay someone to do that. And so if I'm getting like mail is already like I never check the mail because nothing good ever comes in the mail. And so besides obviously trading cards that you sent me. um, but if I was like, okay, I'll wait till you send it to me. But yeah. For me personally, I don't want anything to come to me in the mail. I don't want anyone to call me. I don't want it to text me. So if you could just send it to me once, I'd be good.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I love the mail because I get all these great packages in the mail. Of
You
course,
do, see? That's your business. I love email. See? I don't get any spam in my email. I get offers and business, and so I totally get it. It's we're playing the same thing. You have it in the slow mail, and I have it digitally.
oh my God, it's so much fun when you open up a card and then you get like a 5 of 5 in there, and then it's like a $600 card. You're like, oh my, and it's even crazier, right? So the way it works with Tops, for those who don't know, is that there's a parallel. And so you buy like 20 of them for $90, and then the parallel's included as a bonus card. So the best thing that ever happens is that when the card goes and it's like $15 a card, and you get one of those 5 of 5s that's now worth $600. And so now you took an order and then you sold like 18 of them for like 15 a pop. And then you sell that last one that's like a 5 of 5 for like $600 or $700. Oh my God. It's just, you make so much money. It's so crazy. But then,
Well, I mean, it's that's the thing that's why you need to start your card opening channel, because I'm getting excited about this.
oh my God, I think December. I'm going to do this. I'm going to start. You've convinced me. I was
Good.
procrastinating it. You have now convinced me. So if
I
this
could.
fails, it's on you.
I'll be your one subscriber on the live. Like, yes, go Andrew, open the card.
Maybe I'll send you some cards and we can do it together. That'll be great.
Oh my God. You're all my fantasies are coming real in this call.
I'll have to find a really good, ridiculous card set to do.
You're hurting my cheeks. I'm laughing so hard.
Maybe
This is too good.
There's so many to open up. Like, it's crazy. It's like like I'm gonna have such like an expensive card set. Oh, it's gonna be terrible. It's all gonna be like tax deductible. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, I mean, all of that is written off. The views, you're gonna make an income from it. We talked about all the different ways. Yeah, it's gonna be good, and it won't fail. Don't even put that in the universe. I know it's not gonna fail. It's gonna be amazing.
I'm gonna have a good time with it. I'm gonna have a good time with it. This is what I've learned, right? I am a lot like my 401k is pure S&P 500 at my job. I'm contributing 10% of my income. My company matches me 25% of what I contribute, which is great. So
That's insane.
On $6,000, they're contributing me 1,500, which I think is 25%. Is my math right on that?
If they're paying, if you 2.5, they're paying. They match 2.5 of your income.
Right. So basically, what it is that so maybe not 25%. Maybe I did the math wrong. But
Well, you're contributing 10%. They're and 10% of 25% is 2.5%.
So the numbers is that I contribute $6,000 and they give me 1,500, which is good. In an S&P 500 fund, which is just America, and I think America is going to be.
I love that. That was the most American comment ever. S&P is just America. That was great. That was good. I loved it. Go ahead.
I mean, maybe me and Grant Cardone disagree about the 401k. I think the 401k is the greatest invention ever. But anyway, for the majority of people, it allows you to retire if you max it out with some dignity. Not for everyone, and not financial advice, but I love my 401k because to me, it's not. I don't just stop at my 401k. It's just there, and it allows me to take further risk because it's a safety net for me in retirement, along with me funding a Roth IRA. So I don't just stop at my 401k, but my idea is that that's why this card thing is great. And that's why my eBay business works wonderful, because if all of this fails, I'm going to be fine. And that's how I have to approach things. I don't know how you approach things, where if something fails, how far back is it going to set me? Or am I going to be fine? It's going to suck for 6 months, and then I'll recover 6 months or a year later and I'll be fine because I'm young enough to do it. I'm 31. If I was 61, I'd be more concerned. which I think is a fair assessment. I don't know
Yeah.
how you feel about that, but obviously I think when you're younger, it's easier to recover.
100%. I think that most people are just shitty with money.
I
Um,
agree. I
I
agree.
think that they typically, most people like to spend money to impress people they don't care about. And so they will buy an expensive car to drive to look fancy for no apparent reason, or buy clothes that to go to work to look nice for whatever reason. And obviously, fashion is more females, and like cars and that sort of thing, um, houses, that sort of thing, more male dominant. But um, if you're frugal and like you don't really care what people think, like I literally have like maybe 5 outfits, 6 outfits, and then I have like some dress clothes for like events. But I wear the same shit all the time, so I don't really spend money on clothes. I do drive a Tesla. I'm new model 2024. Only being is I have to drive my daughter to school every day. She's
No,
one.
that's not why you have it. You just want to pretend you're an environmentalist. Isn't that what it's about?
No, not at all. I don't really care about the environment, but I have solar on my house, and I get free energy. So essentially, it's just free gas for me.
I
Um,
was giving you an out, man. I was giving
no,
you an out.
I will.
To take a real bad note.
I'm an honest person. I will say that it's cheaper than gas because I use solar, and so I just like saving money. And we got just an insane tax break for taxes, and so it came out to being like about the same of what I would be spending on a car. So instead of having a higher gas bill every month, I don't have to pay anything in gas really.
My friend bought a Tesla because he liked the way the car looked. He doesn't necessarily care about the environment or gas.
Yeah.
And what he's basically saying is that I like the way the car looks. It looks sleek, it drives fun, it's fast, and it's kind of cool to be in the club. And he's like, if they made an Audi that was a similar price that was electric, I might buy the Audi because it looks also cool, sleek, and I kind of
Yeah.
want to show up in my car nice and I like driving it and it's a lot of fun. So like he didn't buy it because it's electric. He bought it because
Right.
it's a cool car.
Yeah,
And
and I will tell you it's the best car I've ever driven.
well, you haven't driven a Dodge Challenger souped up yet, so that's the problem.
Well, see, the thing is, like, so I bought my Tesla. I've never driven a Tesla before, and I bought it. The day I bought it is the day I drove it, and I thought it was the coolest drive ever. I don't push the brake at all. It's literally you push the gas down and it goes, and you let off the gas and it brakes. And so it's like gas, brake, gas, brake. So you really only need 1 foot to drive this thing. It's pretty amazing. So I like it because of that. Like you said, the gas thing, I don't really care. Sleek, I think it's very fun. But I jokingly say it's my wife's second car because she drives it more than I do in accumulatively, because I really only take it to drive it to my daughter to pick her up and take her back. And that's about 15 minutes twice a day. And so, yeah, I like it.
I'm just gonna tell you this. If you ever drive a souped up like 817 gas powered Dodge Challenger, there's nothing like the torque on that, and it is amazing. And you should take it out on a track. And you only need to do it once because once you do it once, you're good. And then what you do is that you could pretend you're Vin Diesel, and it's great. I'm telling you, I'm not saying you have to buy one. You could rent one, take it out on a track, go around a few laps, and like go like 100 miles in it. Oh my god, there's nothing like it. I did it.
So I did the Porsche test drive. Like I did the defensive driving, and then I also did the like test track. I'm driving fast. I've skydived. I've done a lot of adrenaline things. Sports all my life, but driving, like, it doesn't really excite me too much.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And when she said, I just love the feel of it. Like I can't explain it. Like maybe it's because I'm a guy, and I would never. I mean, I want to buy a Dodge Challenger. Don't
I'm
get me
not a
wrong.
guy.
No, I'm not saying that. Anything with a motor excites me, right?
Okay.
But like, I'm not saying I would want to like drive my Dodge Challenger if I had one every day. It's not that type of car. It's the type of
Yeah.
thing you buy in, you have it in a garage, and you take it out on a nice day, and it's fun. They're fun cars to have. They're fun cars to have when you have money. Is my point. When you are potentially saving up for your kid's college or saving up or paying down your house or whatever you're doing, or you're where I'm at, really putting a lot of capital and managing my business and investing, trying to get to, a certain income level in investments, a Dodge Challenger is not for me. It would be more of a curse than a blessing, but it's fun to rent one for like a weekend.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
so like that's what I'm getting at. But like again, if I could afford a Tesla, I mean, I would. They're cool cars. I'm not anti-Tesla. I'm just like I'm good with my little beat up Honda Civic. That's like a beat
Hey, dude, trust me. I had I had a Prius for the longest time. I actually had a BMW for the longest time. I'm like, why am I spending so much money to drive this car from the gym and back every single day? And then I got a Prius, and I loved it because cheap on gas, got me to point A to point B. So the whole thing. I'm not a car guy. I don't really care. Cars get me to point A to point B. So I think that's really cool that you like Chargers. But I'm with you on the Toyota Prius, or sorry, the Honda Civic. I had a Prius for the longest time. I could drive that all day.
I don't care if if I'm trying to like I'm not if a girl views me because I'm driving a Honda Civic and doesn't view me as a high earner because I have a Honda Civic, well, she's not for me. Like
Exactly.
she's going to be more of a problem.
Right.
And that's a red flag. And I
Right.
hate to sound like I'm stereotyping somebody, but if a girl's like, "Oh, you drive a Honda Civic? That's so cool." I'm like, "When am I getting you a ring?" You want to cook dinner together as a boyfriend and girlfriend bonding activity? Oh, I'm in. I'm in.
That's what I'm talking about. No, so it's funny because my wife, she cooks us dinner every night, and she's amazing. And so like I totally get that. Like I'm all for staying in, cooking together, uh, even going out. Like I enjoying company time together. I think that's very important. So yeah, I totally feel you on that. Like red flags is um, being like, oh, you only drive a Honda Civic. It's funny. There's this girl I watch all the time. I won't shout out names because I'm just not going to
I don't
endorse
care. You
people.
can say
But
whatever you want. You can say whatever you want.
Lady J, I think her name is. She's amazing. She talks about all these women that are these gold diggers essentially, and how they're and she just bashes on them. It is hilarious. She's really good. But yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. Is like. People, I think that if someone's just in it for financial gain versus who the person is, I think that's a definitely a red flag.
No. That's how I feel. And again, you know what is it's tricky for me because I'm in a weird place because I'm at the impetus where I have a business that produces capital. I have assets in my business. I have a decent sized stock account. Like I'm not like ultra rich, but it's growing nicely, and it's gonna get to a healthy level, and in the next 30 years. And so it's complicated because it's like, but again, I know how to spot red flags, and I want a girl who's like, yeah, I don't want to go out tonight. I'm not really feeling it. It's cold outside. Can we just like turn on the fireplace and like Netflix and chill? Like that's the best. If we could cuddle all, it'll be great. It'll be absolutely wonderful. Just turn on your little fireplace, your Netflix and chill. Maybe we'll watch a more feminine show. Fine, I'll serve to that point. It's all right. It's all right. I give you can view my manhood. I'll have my whiskey. She could have her wine. It'll be great.
I love whiskey, but I was just having me and my wife were having some wine earlier.
I mean, it's a Wednesday, so I'm not allowed to drink on Wednesdays. I drink during football because sometimes it helps.
Oh, it keeps the stress down. But yeah, I've actually got my wife into drinking some old fashions and some whiskey, so she's now a whiskey drinker. So yeah, dude, like it is I actually met my wife online, so there is definitely hope for us all, like me, even finding someone online. So she's awesome, and yeah, I think that having someone like that is definitely cool to have if you bond. But we're the totally opposite of each other. So, but we've kind of have merged in certain things. But yeah, I mean, I think someone
Let
that's
me
totally
ask,
opposite.
without prying, are
No,
you
go for it.
total opposites? Because me and my girlfriend were very much opposites. Where she was very artistic, and I'm creative, but I'm way more economic, right? And then obviously things grow apart. People move. People physically move. People have different directions. Anyway, things happen. But that was my ex. But I don't. And some of our values were very similar, right? So like we had similar values on education. We had similar values, on other things, but we had very different political values, which is interesting. But political opinions and political stances, but our values were similar. So I don't think so. Values matter. My parents have different, opinions and thoughts, but their value of putting education first, putting their children first, being economically responsible, those values are similar, but their politics slightly differ. And so it's very interesting when, people's values, because that's what I think is interesting about people. Because I think somebody could be very artistic, somebody could be very much an economic person, which I think are somewhat opposites, but they say, hey, we value education.
Yeah, so I think we're opposites in a lot of stuff. Education, not political. I think we're pretty aligned on that. Work ethic, we're like together. Like we have the same work ethic, very high achievers. But like I'll give you an example. We talk about education. I'm not a big fan of traditional schooling and all that. She is a very big fan of traditional schooling. Um, she went to USC in Pepperdine. So very, very smart woman. And so I think that education is for people that don't know what they want to do, kind of like the military. If you don't know what you want to do, you kind of go into to learn how to work for someone else. And so, not to say that there isn't a way to have a hobby that you like, that you turn into a side hustle that allows you to leave whatever you're doing.
Hello, I'm here.
What?
Hello, I'm here.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I say that. But
I'm taking the joke because I know
Yeah.
it's an easy shot, but no, that's so interesting because I am a big proponent of very much traditional education to a degree. So I knew in high school I wasn't going to be into math at all. Math to me is a foreign language. I don't get math, but I got to pick some of my classes as a sophomore, a junior, and as a senior. It was awesome, right? So as a senior, where I went to high school, you had to pick a bunch of AP classes. So I picked a bunch of AP classes, and I knew that I was a political science guy. And then I picked a class called like macroeconomics, and I just excelled in macroeconomics. I just knew it, right? And so like I purposely got rid of all my math classes in senior year, and like my GPA went off the chart. So,
See,
but like. But
it's important to do things that you enjoyed learning about, though, and you enjoy learning about that.
and then I took some science classes and I did great in it. And so like that's what's so interesting is that once I got to choose, but I do think I work for an education company and we do K through 6, right? So I think, there is a point where you have to have traditional education because how are you supposed to teach somebody phonics, for instance? And this is my day job because I think that has to be in a traditional sense. But I don't disagree that at a certain point, if you don't know your strengths by 8th grade in the public school system, then clearly something you haven't thought about it or something's wrong. I knew political science, English, science to some degree, minus chemistry. Like I knew English and social studies was way more my skill set. And I knew that science and mathematics was not where I was going to be.
Right.
And so I started gearing towards a particular position. I don't know anything about calculus. Geometry screws me up. Algebra, God help me. Give me an algebra problem. Oh my fucking God. But you put car depreciation over 6 years at a 7% rate and say, what is it going to look like, a $30,000 car on a piece of paper? I could tell you exactly what that's going to do. I could do that math in like 10 seconds.
Right.
So like, but that's the thing, because that's real math. Algebra is not real math to me.
No, I totally agree and disagree with you on multiple aspects. So
That algebra is not real.
well, obviously algebra is real. But
You
two,
know what
like,
I mean.
yeah,
I'll rephrase it: practical every day. In which
right,
I don't use algebra every day in my life. Now,
right. You probably hold on. I'm gonna be one of those people now because
feel free to challenge.
yeah, I'm gonna challenge
This is
you.
in good fun. You're not telling me that I'm a complete failure and that I'm going to fail in my business. At this point, you just feel free to challenge.
All right. Everyday algebra is used for things like calculating budgets, measuring ingredients while cooking, determining the best deals when shopping, calculating travel distance based on speed and time, and converting temperatures, and even your daily schedule by managing spent events on activities. So algebra is not useless, but the way we learned it, yes, it's useless because we have technology nowadays that does all the algebra we need in our daily lives.
Let me
For
put it
us.
this way: like a let statement, or exponential components, or like a Y curve, like or like charting a line, right? Like
If you're an engineer, you would be using those every single day. If you were in construction, you would be, or you did CAD drawings, you would be using structural design stuff every single day.
I agree.
However, we do not use that every single day. So I totally understand. I mean, that's why you got to pick. So I'll be devil's advocate again. You love school because you got to pick. I didn't love school because I didn't get to pick what I actually wanted. I had a multiple choice option of things I didn't even care for. And
You get to pick till junior year. So I agree with you on that. So the first 2 years of high school, you have to pick here and there and a few electives, but I didn't get to pick a lot of the cool stuff until junior and senior year. So I agree.
but there's still a list. Like you couldn't pick like I don't know. I'm making something like you couldn't pick social media marketing for
Fair enough.
e-commerce. Like something that you were into. Like you can pick how to become a Axie Infinity manager for NFTs or how to become a YouTuber. Like things that you would be interested in or that like they don't have.
So in college, this is a good example, right? I got to pick a class called writing for the media.
Okay.
So that's cool. So writing for a television show, writing a comic book, writing a movie, screenplay, writing a novel, writing a magazine article. In over 15 weeks, the professor who was teaching it used to be the CEO and president of DC Comics. Super cool, right?
Yeah.
So guy ran DC Comics like Batman, Superman for like 15 years, and he's teaching at this college making maybe 5 or 6 grand a semester. And it was great because you're learning from somebody who's a pro. Now, I get that in high school, that'd be great if all of a sudden Logan Paul was your instructor, right? That would be amazing, wouldn't it? And it'd be like, okay, maybe it's a bad example. We'll go with Jake Paul. Much better, right? No,
I think both the Pauls are in deep water right now, from what I understand.
I thought it was the Tates who are in trouble, but that's
I
not
think
the
they're
point.
all in trouble.
I'm sorry. It was too easy. It was too easy. But like, you get where I'm going with this is that
Yeah.
if somebody has a successful YouTube channel and then
Right.
your high school instructor, you're gonna do something. Or better yet, what about alternative investing for a semester in high school?
Yeah,
That would
that'd
be
be awesome.
awesome, right? Like, I want
Right.
to teach that. I would love to teach that out of college, right? It'd be so much fun to talk about all that cool shit, right? It'd be fun to do it in high school, but then again, I don't know if you can teach high schoolers, and it's also like, would they take it seriously? Like that's the problem too, is that they see like Axie Infinity Manager. How many high schoolers know what the hell that is anyway? So
Right. So we can go down the whole rabbit hole of like philosophy and stuff like that. And I'll give you, if you want to go down this, you can tell me, but or change the subject. But One,
Your call. It's your interview. It's not mine. It's it. I mean, we could. I mean, we're going down a rabbit hole, but I'm fine either way because I get the point. Is where you're going with it.
so I don't think I don't think you are. So number one, to go back to how cool would it be to be Logan Paul, not be Logan Paul, but be taught by Logan Paul. That's great, and you were lucky to get taught by in media from someone who was an expert in that field. But 99% of the teachers in the industry are not experts in their field. They have never actually been in the industry. They've only learned a certification that qualifies them to teach at a college. So like they got a doctor's degree in marketing, but they've actually never ran a successful marketing company in a current environment where they could give real life examples of current trends that are happening at this given moment. Because one, the people that are doing that don't have time to teach in school. One, it'd be too expensive. And so like they're not going to do that. So that's why they teach and they go and they teach people how, and this is where I get into the rabbit hole, is they teach you how to.
I'll throw you a caveat. So I went to school for a semester in DC. So a lot of professors in DC, a lot of them worked in the White House. They were speechwriters. So there's a professor at Georgetown, I think, is in DC. So he was a speechwriter in Obama's cabinet. So he wrote several speeches for Obama, and he was also teaching when he was doing that. So that's really helpful. And then I had another professor where she worked for FEMA. And what it is that a lot of these people get PhDs paid by the government, and then they get hired by American because it's part of like how they get their PhD, and then they stay on. And it's great because now they're giving you real government experience. And that's one of the cool things about DC. But it makes sense because if you're working in the government and you're working in bureaucracy, there's a lot of that. But I agree with you 100% that a CEO like Mark Cuban, we'll use him, good or bad, how you feel about him, he's not going to go and spend time, teaching. Or if he does, he'll maybe will do it at a place like Harvard. But he's not going to do it he's going to do it some upper scale, thing, but he's going to be lecturing to 250 people once a week, so
and there's going to be going to Harvard. He's going to have connections that's going to put him in spaces with connections that could potentially help him grow his business versus going to like a local community college.
Kevin O'Leary is at Harvard, and he does a lot of this. I think he also teaches at McGill up in Canada. And, I think he alternates semesters, or he does 1 year at Harvard, 1 year at McGill. And, part of it, I think, is that I think he wants the prestige because at this point, it helps his brand. Even if he doesn't make any connections, it helps his brand. But he's not going to go teach at a school maybe they'll teach at American because American's a prestigious thing. Yeah. American is a great school in DC. And obviously, if you're a top government person, and you're coming out with the political science book, you want to teach at American. But I agree with you on that point. But sorry for interrupting.
Oh, no, you're totally good. And then the rabbit hole part of it is you have to think like the school system is meant to push a generation through what is needed in the upcoming world, right? And so give them the proper skills of what's needed. So if everyone could go and learn how to become a card trader and a Axie Infinity manager and a artist and this and that, and everyone was doing all these certain things that they all had hopes and dreams for, that's not going to help the economy move forward. That's why we are like the number one economy, is because we have a working class and a working force that has been trained to work in warehouses and to do repetitive work. And if we don't have that, America doesn't grow. And so if you have all these people that are doing all sorts of different things versus doing business or e-commerce and sales and the things that actually push business forward, then we aren't going to be the nation we are today. And so that's why we don't have a big choice in schools, and we have English and economics and political science, because you got to know the understandings of how the surface level business life works, but then you have to obviously have your place in the wheel.
I agree. I could tell you that I was spent time down in DC. I worked, in the House of Appropriations. I did some fellowships down in DC, and then I spent 15 months down there. Couldn't find a job, and then I changed my career and I got a certification outside of college into digital accessibility, and that space is nice, and that space is now needed. I have a certification that about 3,000 people in the world have.
Wow.
So I am very specialized, and I'm very happy with it. And I'm actually in the process of getting another one that will increase my salary by about 30 grand. So but that space isn't going because that didn't exist. like legitly, this whole digital accessibility stuff didn't exist 10 years ago. It existed, but it's now becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. And so for the rest of my career, I will never be without a job. It's crazy.
You're set because not only do you have your investments, you have your stocks, you have your matching 401, you have your business that's actually an asset class in itself because alternative investments. And so all these things combined, like you're golden, man. I love it.
You know what is? And now and here's the kicker. I hang out with my friends every other week. We go see movies, and then we go to Dunkin' Donuts. I have a good relationship with my friends. We watch wrestling like once a month too. In my house, we order a pizza and like they bring a 6-pack or they bring 2 6-packs because there's 2 of them. So they're twins. So they're both required to bring a 6-pack.
I love it.
They sleep over and they know nothing about wrestling. But what do? We drink and we make jokes about the whole thing for like 3 hours, and we're having a great time. And we don't talk about money. We don't talk about anything but just jokes left and right. And this is what we do. And I hope I'm golden. And I keep my shit nice and simple, man. But I'll be honest. Like what you do, you're doing it on a whole new level, man. But I think. And I'm going to bring it back full circle here because I think we agree on the philosophy that passive income is worth more than active income.
How do I explain this?
I make a position where I think passive income or passive income equivalencies, because it's tricky, right? So I think any income that you don't have to work for or work as hard for is worth more than money that you have to go to work for. So like I have a day job. It's a 40-hour work week. That money is harder earned than when I collect my dividend. Now I have had to earn money to invest in the dividend stock, but when they pay me 8 cents a share or 25 cents a share every month or every quarter, that 25 cents every single quarter, technically there is no passive income because that money, if it wasn't in that stock, could be somewhere else. So that money, in order to get my 25 cents or my 50 cents, has to stay in that stock, but it is appreciating. And hopefully it's appreciating, but they're paying me back slowly.
Yeah. So
I know it's a rabbit hole and it sounds semantics, but I don't think it is.
I'm trying to break this down. So you've already invested time previously to make that money work for you today. So you've already put in the effort, essentially. So now you're collecting dividends, essentially, on your time, which is just the money that is accumulating in that pocket. That value of your time is that. So okay, so I'll ask you a question, and then and I don't know. I don't know the answer. I think that both have their places. So I invest in real estate, and I had 10 rental properties, and when we got our 3rd rental property, I pulled out a check, and those rental properties appreciated, and I was able to pull out $100,000 in debt which was the difference in the cost of a loan. My house appreciated, and I'm able to pull out and refinance a loan and pull out the equity in it, which is just the difference between what I owe on the loan and the amount that is the loan itself. And so I was able to pull out $100,000, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. Like, I'm able to do that. And I would say that was when I was doing that, I was managing those properties, and I was able to do that as a personal trainer too. And being able to see that, I think that was really cool. I think that getting a dividend check for a few pennies every single month is also cool, because that is time that you are now recouping back, that you're buying back your time. And that is for time I did previously, I am now buying future time back. And I think that's really cool. So I think they both have their place and they both have value. It's just, I think that they have value in different ways. And I think that you need your active income to fuel your passive income to make it even larger. And so I find a lot of value in what I do. And so I think I find value in both. And I know, I guess I'm the passive income guy and I talk about it, but I think that passive income is great. And I think that okay, so let me ask you this. Like, you love your business, right? Like your car trading business.
I love my eBay comic business. I love the hunt for it. I love everything of it.
It excites you every single day, right? Like, you wake up excited.
I do. I wake up most days excited for it.
Yeah. And that's active income. So would you say that when you get your dividend check, that value of a few bucks or a couple $100 or whatever that is for you is more exciting than the everyday thrill of what you do in your business?
It's complicated, because what I do with that is I put into a drip.
Right.
So I get new shares, and
right.
I have so much now that I could actually see it. So we'll go through a company called Gain. I have 500 shares. They pay me 8 cents every single month. So that's about 2.8 to 3 shares every month. So it's sizable. So you can actually see that you go from, in like next month is going to be at 503. And then December is going to be at 506. And then it's going to be at 509 and some change. And so all of a sudden, fast forward 3, 4, 5 years ago, 5 years later, you're now at 5 shares a month, and you're at 6 shares a month. So it gets very exciting on dividend day, because you could actually see the result of years of effort, like 5 years later. So
but you just went from 25,000 to 80,000 in 90 days with your active income. What has a bigger return?
In sales, which is
awesome.
I want to make that crystal clear, because I know you know it, but I want to make people to really understand that if you do $1 million in sales, you didn't make $1 million. You could have, technically. But sales and income are two different things.
Totally. But I will say your sales in those 90 days are still probably bigger than your dividend check over the last year.
They are.
Yeah.
It is the profit is bigger for sure.
Right.
But there was other stuff, and then there was just some bad merchandise, and there's some debt on the business that got taken care of. So it's not like, I mean, I have a relatively debt-free business. I think I have like $600 in debt that's due on October 31st, which is nothing. That's nothing. You would kill to have $600 of debt, right?
No, I mean, I don't have any bad debt. So besides a few cars that make me rentals, but that's still cash flow is positive.
You get where I'm going with this. Most Americans would kill to have $600 worth of
debt. 100%. But I think that
I get where you're going with it. I guess so I get a real high, right? When I bought a book for $100 or a card for $100, and then I sell it for $6, right? It's awesome. But I also enjoy when I get my paycheck from my job, and I also get healthcare out of my job, which is helpful. So like so I agree that if you have a 9 to 5 job, but you're getting your healthcare covered, and it's not ultra expensive, because healthcare in America is ridiculous. All of a sudden I have good healthcare. I don't know if we've spoken, but I had a surgery. not this year, but I think October 2023, and it was a pretty massive surgery. So I'm gonna ask you, because this is the best investment I've ever made. How much money do you think my surgery was?
It's
They charged the surgeon and the hospital.
I,
Take a guess.
it's stupid. I can tell you that because I know that I had a small surgery, and I think I paid $8,000 out of pocket, and it was like $100-something thousand for the surgery or something like that.
My surgery was $123,000 is
Yeah,
what
stupid.
how much do you think I paid out of that?
Your deductible, yeah, and your cap on that.
I paid $1,000,
Yeah.
which is the greatest investment ever. so now I had a complicated surgery. So I had a corrective surgery where my foot was walking like this. Most people walk like this. My foot now walks like this. So they legitimately corrected my foot 95%. And then they moved tendons around and then they fused stuff in there. And it was like a 6.5-hour surgery. So oh no, my foot's in a 95% better position. I think that's an A plus, right?
Right.
But my point is that I said to somebody who I was interviewing, not before, but like a year and a half ago, I said, if this thing cost me 10 grand, that would have been pennies for me. I would have paid all of that. I have that money. And when I got my bill for $1,000, I was like, holy shit, let's get out some good scotch.
I love it. No, that's important.
People didn't understand that I knew exactly what the fuck was going on and how expensive my foot was. Now, that $1,000 wasn't just the surgery. It was the 8 follow-up visits, and it was all the medical, like boot and removal of the cast and a bunch of other stuff that happened. So it wasn't just the surgery. It was a boatload of other shit that was time, effort. So it was a bargain, is my point. So
well, you have to think also, like, you might think it's a bargain, but it's actually life-changing if you think about it, because it's not just the surgery. Like, you're able to walk better. You have a comfortable, like, you're probably not in pain. There's a much bigger
was weird. They forgot to tell me a little detail that if you have an Achilles lengthening, that your foot's in a cast at 90 degrees. And the first 6 hours I was good, but there's only so much you could put your foot on your Achilles. Yeah. And then it started spasming out. And then I'm like, I can't take it. And then I throw my foot over the edge of the bed. Perfectly fine. Nobody's like, you should probably not put weight on your Achilles, and every so often you should like move it to the side of your bed. Right. That would have made it so much better those 4 weeks. But sorry for cutting you off. Continue.
No, you're good. I'm just saying, like, all that, like, it's not the surgery, the time. It's like how you feel and the mindset, the headache factor that I keep saying that made you shift, the quality of life that you got back. All these things that were, you couldn't really put a price tag. You said 10,000, but you probably you thought that was a steal. And I mean, sure, it was 100,000, but then, I mean, we can go down the rabbit hole of how expensive. And
I'll explain my thought with that 10,000 number. I speak to people a lot in indie comics, and they're doing a book for $4,500. Now, $4,500 is nothing for me. It's really nothing for you, hopefully. I mean, I don't want to spend $4,500 frivolously. But if somebody dropped the $4,500 bill on me and said, if you don't pay it, I'm going to shoot you in the head, you and me both can find $4,500 in about 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, easily.
Some people can't. So the people I was speaking to when I was explaining, hey, if this thing cost me 10 grand, they were shocked and mortified. Because they didn't understand. And that's why I use that 10,000 number, because 10,000 people know what $10,000 looks like relatively in their head. And if you just spend $6 grand or $4,500 on to produce your comic book, it's 2 of those and a little bit more. So you have an idea and people are shocked. And I'm like, why are you shocked? Like, but that in 100,000, if we were speaking or I was speaking to somebody else, 100,000 would have been crazy. I couldn't afford $100,000 for this surgery. It might have been worth 100,000, might be worth 120,000, might be worth priceless technically. But the people get the 10,000 number. That's why I use that number, because it's visually understood. But
Yeah, I think that's the price it should be. I think 100,000 for surgery. Well, go back to the whole thing with teaching and how that's a whole price gouging. But insurance too, I think, is a scam. Like I'm not a big fan of insurance. So, but I had to do a similar thing to I didn't do a reconstructive surgery like you did. I mean, you went through a lot more pain. I did a simple surgery, and it's expensive, and it just for what it is, you can go to another country that has just as good as healthcare, and it'll be a tenth of the cost. And I'm sorry that you had to go through that, but I'm so glad that you are
oh
in
my
a
God,
better.
my surgeon. God bless him. God bless him.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm sorry that you had to go through that, but I'm also not sorry because it makes you feel better about what you're doing.
I will be very honest in which that it is terrifying because I had a failed surgery, which caused the problem. It took me 13 years to get over the fear. So there's a few things in that in of itself, right? And I'm
Right.
very open about this. Is that, and I think it's very important to acknowledge it. Is that, what if this surgery didn't work, right?
Yeah.
And that's the scary part about surgery is that when a surgery fails the first time, what's going to make it not fail the second time? And this one didn't fail. I did everything right. I listened to him. I took like calcium supplements for a reason. I took a lot of aspirins to not have blood clots down there. He didn't prescribe me a bunch of drugs, which was good. He only gave me like 15 oxys, which is a good thing. That shit's bad.
Yeah, it is bad.
People said my first surgery, they gave me like 90 oxycodons. Now, granted, this was 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
So different time, right? But nonetheless, I took like maybe like 20 of those during in 2010, 2011. But I didn't get addicted. But that's how you get addicted to this shit. Because you feel good when you're on oxy. And if I'm just gonna say it, it's a PSA, and you can take it or not take it. Everybody, if you have an oxycodone problem or any of those types of things, go get help because it is very dangerous. That's the PSA of the day. But beyond that, I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a financial advisor. But definitely seek help because that stuff is dangerous and it's not good for you. And fentanyl is not good either. But enough about that. No, that shit gets laced in there. It's not good. It's not good.
I'm very familiar with the whole drug. I have family members that are very no longer with us because of it. So I definitely understand.
So I'm just saying, I don't need to tell you. You're not my concern at all. I'd be very shocked. I'd be very shocked if you were. But I digress. But I don't know. No. I'll let you have a topic.
No, I'm totally good. It's funny. I was just talking to this. Speaking of drugs, no, I'm speaking of drugs. Now I was just talking to a girl from Better You. This is not a plug. It was actually a fascinating company. They do ketamine, and I don't know if you're familiar with ketamine, but ketamine is a drug that is helped with surgeries and mostly for trauma triage events. So like combats at war, like someone got their leg blown off, they need a fast-acting pain suppressant, and they use like ketamine to sink them into a hole essentially to numb the pain. And it's a dissociation drug that helps eliminate pain very, very quickly. And so I was having a conversation with them today. It's very fascinating. I think drugs are actually very interesting. And she was telling me that this one patient had this trauma where her child passed away. And I thought that was very sad because I have a new baby daughter, and I'd be very heartbroken if anything happened to her. And she was telling me how she was on like doing therapy and doing this drug, and it just fascinating how the brain works, because she was saying that like it helped create closure with her and the child that passed away, even though the child had no events with the closure with this child because it passed. being on this therapy with the drug was fascinating. I think drugs are fascinating what they do to the brain. Obviously, this is not like an endorsement for drugs, and don't do drugs. It's bad. But I think that it's just how the brain works is just fascinating to me, and how therapy and drugs can actually help some people. So yes, if you do have a drug problem, please seek help and seek therapy, because I think that is very important, as Andrew says, for our public service announcement.
Well, that's all the good we're going to do today, because now we're going to tell you why you're all wrong about business. No, I mean, the question of the day is that if Thor is holding his hammer and Hulk picks up Thor,
I think it counts, man. I think that if Thor is picked up, he is technically attached to the hammer, so I think it counts.
it's a tricky age-old debate.
So what is the going answer?
It's very divided. It's a very, very heated discussion, and then it always devolves into something else. Like it's never good out this ends, but everybody's getting hammered, so nobody really cares, and it's ridiculous. And it's absolutely wonderful. Is the point of this whole conversation and this discussion and everything that's happening with it, and it's fun. You see, these debates are fun, right? Because nobody ever gets angry and leaves in a storm.
Right. That's the most important thing.
And they would be a fan of the X-Men. Oh, that was good. That was good. Okay.
Oh my God, you were just too good with the quick one hitters. Like, it's just.
I did stand up a few months ago.
No way, did you?
Yeah, so I did something that it didn't go well, but it was really funny. I read light bulb jokes.
Okay.
And I had like a sheet of paper and I just read them. And then at the end of it, I folded the paper nicely and I said, I hope that experience was as electrifying for you as it was for me. And I just walked off the stage.
And how did that go?
A bunch of people got the whole punchline of the joke. It was brilliant. The thing was brilliant, but people didn't get it until the punchline. Because the punchline of the joke is that you're telling light bulb jokes. Like, right. How many times does it take to screw in a light bulb? Right? It's one to hold the light bulb and four to move the house. And then it's the whole thing. So you have like 4 or 5 of those. And it was a little bit funny, but like people are looking at you and then you say, oh, that's all I have for you. I hope that experience was as electrifying for you as it was for me. But you're doing it in like monotone.
Right.
So and then people are like, oh, and you can tell the host got it immediately because the whole bit was like Norm Macdonald and Stephen Wright.
Oh, geez. That'd be great. Is it on film?
I didn't film it, but like, because you put your name in a hat, then you get called up. You got like a minute, maybe 90 seconds. And some people, like, I just said, I'm going to go do it. I had a few drinks in me. It was great. And we had a good time. And then it was fun. And then like they had some like, not like headliners, but people who were a little bit more experienced kind of doing like 5-minute bits. And it was fun. It was a good time. It was like a $20 like drink minimum. So it was like 2 drinks, you had to buy, and then you were there for like 3 hours. It was a good time.
That sounds like a great time. That sounds like, and that's what you're going to spend on a movie. So you go enjoy a few drinks and actually some entertainment, or see the latest, Marvel film.
So, but again, what I wouldn't normally do it. I just threw my name in the hat, and then let's say you didn't want to do it, and then your name's called. You could say, I'm just going to decline. It wasn't like high pressure. So like, but that was the joke, is that it was funny, but like, I don't know, like, I don't want to be a stand-up comic, but every once in a while, it's fun to do something like that.
Well, I think it just also brings you out of your element too, right? You're able to do something you're not used to, something that you're something you always wanted to do, but you just didn't do it. And now you were put in a situation, had a few drinks, and you're ready to go. So I don't think that's a bad thing.
It's also not going to be like that Bill Burr incident with Tony Edgecliffe and that, and like I would never ever do that, right? Like that's a little too much. In which that, like, for me, I think that would just like, I would never ever put myself into like a high profile situation because that's not for me. But like going to just like a little club and they're having an open mic night and like there's like having a drink or two and you get to talk to people, you get to watch people do some cool stuff. It was fun.
I think it's good people watching too, right? Like you kind of get to see people like not
It's
fail, but you get to see like them stumble, but like cheer them on and like be part of that experience. I think that's really cool.
nobody was roasting anybody if they
Right.
failed.
No, totally.
In which that, you know, it is, and nobody was even offering criticism or anything like that. Like if somebody bombed, you just bombed and then you just were done in 90 seconds.
But I think what I'm trying to say is it's you go to the movies and it's perfection, right? Like everything's scripted, everything's like to the T. This isn't, and that's what makes it better, is because it's off the cusp. It's not professional. You don't know what's going to happen. It could bomb. It could be really good, like a hidden gem, and that's what it's kind of like opening boxes, like cards. It's like, is this going to be an autograph? Is it not? So, like when you start your channel on opening cards, that you said you're going to send me some cards so that we can open them together.
We're gonna do a big league set. So a big league set for those who don't know, because I don't want to just open cards. I also want to provide some education, which I think will be a nice little blend. So a big league set is a numbered set, like 1 through 370, right? So
I have no idea. So this would be like, I'd be the uneducated person on the show, and you would be teaching me like you'd be teaching the audience.
Oh, I mean, we could do that, or we could just open packs and have a good time. Oh, it's one or the other. I mean, the point is that about baseball is that in baseball cards and big league sets is you have a top set in the top series 1. There's autographs, there's parallels, there's inserts, there's like 15 variations, and like each card has legitly 20 variations in it. So you go down from like 101s to 5s to like 10s to 50s to 100s to 99s to 150s to 500s, right?
Yeah.
So to like spec stuff, and all this has different value, which is crazy. So that's what happens in a series 1 or a chrome. In a big league set, it's just straight out numbered 1 to like 370, and there's none of that shit in there. So it's much calmer if you're 8 years old, where you're not going to be granted real money in those cards. There's still value in them, but it's the idea that, okay, you're getting your feet wet. And that's what I think is important sometimes, is that like this right here is big boy card collecting. I put that up all the time. You might see my post when I put up a card that said big boy card collecting, because
what does that mean then?
It means that you kind of have to know what you're doing if you're buying a autographed Breonna Stewart.
Okay.
Limited to 7 out of 10, because only 10 of these cards in the world.
Oh, wow.
So like this right here is a 101. So when you go out and buy this card, this was actually randomly pulled, which was cool. But not the point. But the idea is that when I say big boy card collecting, you don't just go buy a 101 for $150. You kind of have an idea of what you're buying.
See, I think that people don't understand that it's no different than stocks in a sense. I mean, because you have to think like you're picking, you're doing your research.
Let me rephrase. Okay. If I pull a 101 out of a pack, that's different than when you're actively. So this card wasn't pulled out of a pack. This was bought knowing that I was going to get one of these. There's a difference between you're buying a card directly from somebody that's not in a pack, but it's a card, versus when you open up a pack and you pull a rare card. So that's the difference.
Why is it different?
So the difference is that if you pull a 101 out of a regular pack, then you don't know what you're going to get, because packs are random. That Breonna Stewart wasn't random.
Right.
Because you were buying the individual cards. So individual cards are, if you buy them off, are like stocks. If you buy just a pack at your local Target and you pull something rare, that's just random, right? Because you
Right, right,
don't.
right,
So when you open, if I send you a blaster box of a big league, you don't know what's in there. You could pull an
right,
autograph. You
right.
could pull like the player of the year in a big league, but you could also pull dog shit.
Nothing. Right.
Um, but usually in a box, there's something in there that's usually good. So they try to mix up boxes so that you get at least something, like you get a parallel, or you get like one parallel, or you get like a rare card in there. Or in a big league set, there's usually the parallels are actually included in the numbered set, which is nice. So the last like 90 cards are blue or red, which are like foils. So they're numbered versus
Okay.
saying, so like it's card number 378 is like a blue background. It's not, so there's no parallels. It's just that that card is in the set versus having 6 variations of it.
Well, I'm great. I'm glad when we're gonna jump on that live and you're gonna pull up the cards and you're be like, see, Brandon, this is and you're gonna demo it and be like, while we're opening these cards, this is the blue. It has a foil. See, you can tell by the blue or red foil on it, and it's worth more because of this. And then this one is blah blah blah, and we can go through it. And I'm actually learning because you telling me all this and not showing me anything. I'm just like, okay.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm probably gonna do my Otanis then. I think I'm gonna, because I want to rip my Otani box
Let's
set.
do it.
Oh
December.
man.
I'm making it happen. You said it's on me if this fails, so I'm
Oh,
making
it's
it
not
happen.
you. It's not gonna fail. I'm not worried about it.
I'm not either.
If I have a good time with it, that's the only thing that matters, because I don't need to make money doing this. And
Right.
everything that I've done in my life, and I don't know how you feel, everything that I've done in my life that I didn't need to make money in, I've made money in. Like,
Well, that's what we said at the very beginning, where I said, like, everything. I have a very good niche. I have a very good, and I said this at the very beginning. I think of the call. I was like, I have a very good understanding of when I'm learning something, how to make money from it. And I think, and you're the same way. Like, if you're doing something that you enjoy, you're gonna end up making money from it because of just who you are as a person.
like I enjoy crypto, I enjoy stocks, I enjoy comics, and I enjoy cards. And I enjoy interviewing. And I'm not exactly making money doing interviewing, but I enjoy it, and it's very much a research arm for me, which is nice because it gives me insight, and it also gives me access to wholesale, which is always
Well,
nice.
you have to also think, I shared it on my profile, and I'm going to end it with this because I need to go to bed. I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. So this is super late for me, but
I'm sorry.
no, you're totally good. I wanted to take the, what is the word I'm looking for? I want detrimental, the detriment on my health. I wanted to stay up late because it was worth detriment to my health of being up late past my bedtime. But no, I'm just kidding. No, I fuck. What were we saying just before that? And I'm talking about my health. My head just went blank on everything.
We're
Oh,
talking.
I'm really good at making money with things on what I do. And so you sharing, like, for instance, I shared this interview. So anyone who's in, when we went on interviews before, I shared it to other people so that people that are interested in alternative collections, investing, or if they want to learn, like maybe you have a card that they could buy from you, there is it's just good to have those connections and being able to turn to someone who might be a lead source from even a different industry in a sense. So I think it's amazing what you do.
Well, fair enough. But on that note, I do want to give you a chance to promote yourself. So where can people find you, hit you up? I did put your website link into the description, so people can go
Yeah.
check that out. But I don't know any other social media you got that you want to promote, or anything you got going on, because
Yeah, I'm
hey, it's difficult, right?
I I would
I'm
say just
sorry.
subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would say is probably the best. Or you can just check out my brandonduff.com and you can go to my YouTube channel and subscribe there. I'm not really promoting anything. I think I'm working, I do mostly business to business now. And so I'm just promoting myself, I guess. And so if you like what I talk about and you want to learn for free and just, just be in my realm, then definitely subscribe and um, you know, invite me to your podcast and let's talk, because I think I love networking and talking with people, especially if they have a platform and it's where we're helping each other grow. Then that's what it's all about. So.
Fair enough. And then I'm going to just keep saying it is that if you like people and you like their content, you got to subscribe to their content. You got to support their content. Supporting could be economic. Supporting can also be just subscribing to somebody's YouTube channel. It goes a long way, or liking their Instagram, liking a post they do, saying hi to them, inviting them onto a podcast. It's always appreciated for me at least. And I would imagine for you as well. So it's appreciated when you guest on shows, because I love guesting on shows. So, same goes for me, everybody. But going beyond that, obviously, social media for me is Pop Anime Comics on Twitter/X, Pop Anime Comics on the Instagram, Pop Anime Comics on the Facebook, Pop Anime Comics on YouTube, Pop Anime Comics on TikTok. I do run an eBay store called Pop Anime Comics Collectibles, and we do sell some comics, cards, a lot of cool stuff. And I carry really cool stuff like this in my store. So this is a game-used base from the game at Rickwood. It's awesome. I have one of them left. So if you want it, go buy it. I also tend to carry cards like this, which are limited to 25. I carry cards like this. That one's not for sale, but it's an example of something. This one is for sale. This is a 10 of 10. This is a 1 of 1. I'm keeping the 1 of 1 for me. I'm sorry. I'm selfish. If you want that card, tough. Should have been faster when it came out. But that's your.
What if I wanted to buy it for $4,000? Would you sell it to me?
Maybe. Maybe. I would.
Everything has a price, my friend. Everything has a price.
Everything does have a price. Everything does have a price. But I also carry cards like this in my store as well, and they're really cool. This is a $30 card. This is a $30 card. So
what's his name? That's the that's the actor, right? The WWE guy.
Yeah, it's John Cena. It's great.
Yeah, John Cena.
It has a low print run. It's like got 200 of them in there. It's great. Awesome. I have like 10 of them. It's great.
He's awesome.
Actually, I think I might either have 10 or I have 20. I forget how many I have, but I sold a few. They're awesome cards. But I also sell books like this, where I bought all 15 of these on foils. So if you want one of those books, again, I'm sorry, but you can only buy it from me.
What are the guns on that chick, dude? She is built.
I know. That's what I noticed too first.
Her biceps are massive.
It's so bad. There's 15 of them. They're all beautifully foiled, and I have all 15 of them. There you go. So that's the type of stuff I sell. And I've said this before, and you were mentioning it earlier. There's been plenty of people where, first and foremost, if I do not have an item listed in my eBay store, ask me, because I may or may not have it. Because again, I have a lot of merch that it gets cycled in and out, and maybe it just hasn't been listed. And if I don't have it, chances are I know somebody who does. And I'm more than happy to direct you. And I have a lot of friends in comics, a lot of friends in card world, and I'm always happy to refer my friend's business, because it always comes back to me. And I want you, 100%. My customer, to be happy and get what you can get if I can't provide it for you. And there's been plenty of circumstances where somebody's gotten what they wanted because of me. And the person's like, yo, do I owe you anything? Can I owe you money? And I'm like, not really. I don't need you to give me money for that. I'm just happy that you got what you wanted, because I couldn't get it for you because I just didn't carry it, or I sold out. And sometimes the item, it just disappears. And I try, and if it comes across my desk, I will let you know. But again, I do my best. So that's everything I do. And then
and to put the final word in, if you get the card early, he will send it to you. And if you have a second card coming later, he'll send it when it comes and not together. He'll send it separately so that you get it early. You don't have to wait for it. So
that's what I do. That's what I do, everybody. That's what I do. And then my friend taught me a very valuable lesson. Owes me money because the Mets won. So again, I have no problem. He owes me $100. I can't wait. Maybe I'll buy some big box leagues stuff instead of buying some stock. I met my goal for gain. I was supposed to do it by the end of December, get 500 shares, and I did it legitimately like a week ago. So I'm ahead of my schedule, but not the point here. But my friend taught me to do this, And this is my Cash App, everybody. So if you want to support independent media, that's my Cash App. You don't have to do anything, but hold up $1. Scan your phone. We all have it. I accept all forms of payment, but it's not required from anybody or anything. But internet media is expensive. But enough about that. That's everything I got, and I'll give you the final word.
Oh man, the final word: be kind and show goodwill to people, because in the end, I think that it will give you massive leverage in whatever you're trying to do. And so that is my final word of the day.
Well, I don't think I could have said it any better myself, anybody. And that is a wrap.
Perfect.